Okay, guys, let me kind of pose you a question. What would you rather have in trading? Would you rather have lots and lots of action, win a bit, lose a bit, and ultimately just spin wheels? Or would you rather just take one or two trades and end up with a decent amount of money at the end of the month? Paused a bit just to give you a bit of thought. Well, that's what we're going to explore in this Coffee with Scruff. So I'm going to get a coffee. And let me just kind of explain something here. I love a coffee. We all know Scruffy loves a coffee. There was a comment in one of the other videos. I mean, you get some right morons. Going blah, 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 coffee. Blah, 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 blah. Just make an easy system. Well, coffee is probably your best tool when you're trading. That'll put a little sort of flux in your mind. How the hell is coffee going to be trading? Right. One of the issues with traders, the big issue, is overtrading. You're desperate to be in the charts, and you want to catch every move. You're jumping from product to product, all these different things. You can't concentrate that long. You really can't. And you certainly don't have a plan. That's kind of helter-skelter. Now, this isn't blah, blah, blah. This is cold fact. If you're overtrading, you're failing. And the people who kick off are normally the ones who are failing. But if you dig down into it a little bit, it's because they don't actually know what they're doing in the first place. They just think, well, the chart's moving up, I'm going to buy it. Oh, no, the chart's moving against me, all this sort of thing. What you got to remember is you're playing in the highest level from the outset. In other words, you're pitching yourself against traders who are far better at it than what you are. One of the things that I learned really quickly was if I decide to fight the market, I've lost, period, because it's better than me. And why? Well, you can hear the thump. It's the dog giving it one. Oi, give over. The lovely dog, but bugger me, it's noisy. It's a bit like Winky. She doesn't shut up either. So, the market's better than me. So, if I know that, can I use that to my advantage? Of course I can. Because power is not knowing something what somebody else knows. It's actually knowing what they do know. Now, if you go into the market with that thought process, that's where your coffee comes in. Because who moves the markets? Is it me? Pound a point? £5 a point? £10 a point? No. It's the big boys with loads of money a point. So, where do they play? They play on a 5-minute chart. They look at a 1-minute chart. Don't make me laugh. They look at hourly, 4-hour day charts. So if you're looking for the information to go into market, is it now not common sense that the lowest time frame is an hour? So therefore, in an 8-hour session, you are going to have, at best, 8 signals. Now, inside of that 8 hours, there's certain parts you can knock off. If I'm doing London, I'm certainly not trading 8 or 9 o'clock, because that's suicide. Why? It's volatile. You don't know really which way the direction of the market's going, not in the interim. The general flow might come back, but it'll go the opposite way before it comes the right way. But you don't know if it's going to happen because you haven't seen it yet. So you can discount that. So you've now got 7 signals. Well, we know lunchtime's dead. So between sort of 12, 1 o'clock, there's no point really trading around that time because the market's dead as a doornail. So you're down to 6 signals. So the chances of in them 6 signals, there's been a trade on every one of them. Pretty slim. So you can maybe half it. Now that gives you 3 signals a day. 3. Or 3 signals a session. So from there, what is the one thing you need? Patience. Now, if you're in front of the screen, you might get itchy trigger finger. I need to use the mouse because I'm here. Well, that's where coffee comes from. Because if you get up and walk away from your desk, go make a coffee, enjoy it, talk to your other half, listen to a bit of music, go for a walk around the block. You're not fiddling anymore. You're relaxing. You have to excuse me, I'm not very well today. You're relaxing. Well, if you're relaxed and then you come back to market, you'll be at a calm, easy state. Well, if you're in a calm, easy state, that means you make a logical choice, a good choice. So I'll go back to the original question. Do you want loads of action and get nowhere? Or do you want limited action and get somewhere? Think about the old sort of story about the hare and the tortoise. The tortoise won by steadily grinding away. The hare lost because it thought it was Billy Big Bollocks. You know, I'm going to race at this. Fine, crack on. Just don't talk to me about it because I'm not interested. Trading is about long-term growth. And long-term growth is slow and steady. I've been doing a test at the moment. Here, people laugh at me. Similar sort of guy. Blah, 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 blah. And they'll go, well, they're pennies. Yeah, but it started with pennies. It started with 100 quid. 100 quid. Down it goes, down it goes. And they're all set out in such a way, and it's just doing quite well. All of that lot's adding up. But adding up to what? Well, it's because I've been tracking it on this so I can see when's a good time to trade, when's a bad time to trade for a couple of assets. And those assets are pound USD, euro dollar, and pound JPY. I want to see when the optimum time to trade is, how long they last, and whether or not it makes any money. Well, I'm running this as a forward test for 30 days. I've done 20 so far, 20 working days. It's not lost a trading idea. No, a trading idea is I can see where I want to get into the chart, and I know roughly where I want to get out of the chart, and then I'll break the positions up therefore. So I won't win every position, but the ideas should be sound, and they're done on the top of each hour. Well, here we go. So here I had 3 trade opportunities. Excellent. All right. Took 3 positions. So I was actually nailing it on the head, because what I'm seeing here is my average positions going into market is 1.6. So I'm actually nailing it down a lot better. And there we go. And then I grade them as to what sort of targets they are, A, B, C, D sort of thing. There I was day done at 4 o'clock. So it was a long old day. That was a long time. Now there's certain days, and I get caught on these things. Whenever I start trading late at night, I get caught with overnight charges, because it mightn't cash out at about 11 o'clock or something like that, or the next day. So I've figured out through this, once I've hit 4 o'clock, I'm pretty much done for the day. Okay. So if 4 o'clock is the maximum, where's the optimum? Well, it's here. It's in and around the early morning, normally before noon. So again, so that's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities I have. Top of each hour. Now, this one I don't particularly like, simply because I try not to open up trades inside of this. But what I will do is I'll be opening up at 7, but it might cash out in 8 o'clock. That's kind of what this is. It's just a snapshot so I can roughly see where I'm up to. And there's the stats. And you'll be thinking, well, whoop-de-doo. 4 quid, 2 quid. Yeah, but in 20 days it's generated £76. Tell me a bank that would pay that. Tell me a bank that would give you that with simple trade ideas. And look, I'm not over trading. The most trades I've took in one day was 4. But it's really just 1 and 2, which is in line with how I trade normally anyway. So where am I going with this? Well, it's less is more. Now, I did start a fund. I'll switch it on and I'll show you where it is. So let me just flick this back. There's this Vanguard fund, which was done the same way in front of you. Oh, hold on, just a second. I need to pause this. Yeah, sorry, didn't want to show my passwords. This was done the same way. We go to the investments. I opened up this particular pot, and the idea was to get it to 10 grand from 200 quid. Now we're closing on the end of May, so this is kind of like an update of what this is. The current balance of the whole portfolio is over 111,000. That's my trading pot. Okay. But inside it is a secondary trading pot, which is the cash and this one here. And I said I wanted to get this to 10,000 quid. Well, it's there now. So I've done it in less than sort of 6 months when I wanted to do it in a year. Okay. Now that was plotted with this, and you can kind of see it, you know, where we are. We started 200 quid in January. We reset April for the tax year because I go April to April. That's why that balance is different. And we added in. But if you look at the series, you'll have seen it, and you'll have seen the money go into it, etc., etc. I've just put a little bit in this morning, and I've paid off Benidorm, our conference in October, and I paid off my holiday to go to Caribbean at the end of August. All from this, you know, and I'm still left with 10 grand in the account. So what I've decided to do is move it to 15k because I've hit it early and see if I can get 15 grand in there. So again, I'm going to do it with steady steps.
I'd buy that for $1.
And the idea was just to do steady acorns. You know, if I can get this up to a decent amount, I'll be more than happy, because I certainly want to get it up as high as what this one is. I mean, it's sitting just over 100,000 at the moment, and I'm more than happy with that. More than happy. Which I suppose most people will. But how was that built? Was it built by going at the chart like a machine gun? No, it wasn't. It was simple, steady steps. And it all comes down to one thing. One. Planning. You know, if you plan what you want, you can visualize it. And if you can visualize it, you can sort of break it down into smallest denominators. That's how I do things. If, for argument's sake, if you want to open up a prop fund, the first thing that's on your mind is, I need to hit that milestone. Fine. Well, how long do you want to hit it? Well, I want to do it in a week. Well, you're an idiot. You're gambling at that point. Right? I want to do it in a month. Okay, and go with that. You know, because you've got decent buying power, and depending on the fund that you've got, you'll have a half decent drawdown that may be able to do in a month. You're kind of better off looking at it as 2 months. So, all right, I'll do it in 2 months, and that's what my milestone is. Fine. Break it to the smallest denominator, and then every day you beat that target. You might beat it by maybe 4 or 5%. Just stop. And all those 4 or 5% will add up. And suddenly you haven't taken 2 months to do it. You might still do it in your month, but you set a realistic goal without forcing the chart. Same here. I wanted to do 10 grand, so I worked it out what I needed to do a day. And every day when I hit it, I just kind of stopped. But for the odd trades that ran through, it just added up, and I've hit the goal early. So I'd be interested in your thoughts about what trading is all about. You know, it isn't the road to riches. It really isn't. If you want it to be a good job, it's an excellent job. It's a great job. But like most jobs, you know, you've got to do certain tasks, you've got to plan it, and you've got to be repetitive. That's what trading is. And one of the worst things you can do is seek more and more information. You know, I get this asked all the time, certainly in my group. Oh, do you trade this? Do you do that? Do you do the other? And I'm like, no. Do I know how to trade multiple ways? Yes. But that's because I've done this for 20 years. Right? So, yeah, I do know different ways, whether it's trend following, counter trend, etc. You know, it doesn't really matter. But do I stick to the same thing? Yeah. 90% of the time I use Goldeneye. And Goldeneye is nothing more than level to level. That's it. You know where the key levels are, and you know how to draw them properly. It's a piece of piss. Absolute piece of piss. Becomes difficult when you try to over-engineer it. Why? Because you're trying to predict something that nobody knows. The future. So the only thing you can do is use an echo of the past to give you a vision of that future. And remember that it's a vision. It's not an absolute. And if you've got a rough idea of what it's going to do, then just be a little bit conservative and you'll be fine. But if you're chasing like 3 and 1 and all of this all the time, because that's what you're told, and sort of 1 to 2% of account because this is what you're told, you'll probably find your accounts are getting eroded all the time. And why? I'll go back to a statement I said earlier. Power is not knowing what someone else doesn't know. It's knowing what they do know. And they will use that 1 and 2% in your small account against you. And they're better than you. So slow down and look for the optimum trade rather than any trade. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, I always cherish your thoughts. I genuinely do. Answer every single person that contacts me. And if you're stuck, don't worry. There's no stupid questions in this world. Just unknown answers. So as always, guys, trade well, keep your risk managed, but above all, do what you love. And the money will follow. See you all in the next one.